The massive space station hung in the void like a jewel made of metal and light. Ships from across the galaxy moved around it like insects around a bright flame. Each vessel was beautiful in its own way. The Zephyrian cruisers looked like silver, arrows with blue energy dancing along their hulls. The Korthic dreadnoughts were huge black mountains covered in weapon ports that glowed red. The Etherian ships barely looked real at all, their hulls seeming to bend and twist space itself. Captain Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of her ship and watched through the main screen. She could see the other captains on their communication channels, all talking and laughing together. They wore fancy uniforms covered in medals and ribbons. Their ships gleamed under the station's lights like they had just been built yesterday. Then there was the Ashfall. Sarah's ship looked like someone had taken parts from 100 different vessels and welded them together with whatever was handy. The hull was a patchwork of different metals and colors. Some sections were dark gray steel from old cargo ships. Other parts were bright silver aluminum from passenger liners. Thick cables ran along the outside of the ship where they should have been hidden inside. Weapon mounts stuck out at odd angles, clearly added later when someone found space for them. "Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Yuki Tanaka from her position at the tactical station, "we're getting some interesting reactions on the communication channels." Sarah nodded. "Put it on speaker, but keep our channel closed." The bridge filled with alien voices speaking in the common galactic trade language. Most of the words were not very nice. "Is that supposed to be a warship?" This voice had the clicking sounds that meant it came from a Chittick captain. "It looks like a garbage collector. The humans sent their scrapyard to fight us." This was a Korthic voice, deep and rumbling like rocks falling down a mountain. "How insulting! Perhaps they think this is a joke." The Etherian voice sounded like music, but not the happy kind. "Their ship appears to be held together with prayer and metal paste." Admiral Vexstar's voice cut through the others. He was the commander of this whole event, a hegemony officer with more medals than sense. "Attention all vessels. The war games will begin in 1 hour. I trust our human friends will provide some entertainment before they are eliminated." More laughter came through the speakers. Sarah looked around her bridge at her crew. Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez was checking his systems at the engineering station. His hands moved over controls that looked like they had been salvaged from 10 different ship types because they had been. Communications specialist Lisa Park sat at a console that was held together with metal tape and hope, but Sarah knew it could crack any code the galaxy had to offer. "They think we're a joke," said Marcus, not looking up from his work. "Good," Sarah replied. "Let them think that." The war games were held every 5 years. They were supposed to be a friendly competition between the different species in the galactic hegemony. In reality, they were a way for the big powers to show off their newest weapons and ships. The winner got better trade deals and more respect. The loser got laughed at for the next 5 years. This was the first time Earth had been invited to participate. Humanity had only joined the hegemony 20 years ago, and most aliens still thought of them as new and weak. The invitation had come with conditions. Earth could send 1 ship, and it had to be a military vessel currently in service. The Ashfall was technically in service. It was also the ugliest ship in the Terran Defense Force. "All stations report ready," said Yuki. Her console looked like it belonged in a museum, but Sarah knew the young officer could make it sing. "Very well," Sarah settled into her captain's chair. It was comfortable, even if it was older than she was. "Marcus, how are our engines?" "Running quiet and smooth, Captain. The aliens won't hear us coming unless we want them to." "Lisa, communications?" "All channels monitored and ready, Captain. I can listen to their chatter and they'll never know." "Yuki, weapons and defense?" "All systems show green, Captain. We're ready for whatever they throw at us." Sarah smiled. Her crew was young, but they were good. More importantly, they were angry. Every one of them had lost something to alien pirates or smugglers in the outer colonies. Every one of them had a reason to want to show these fancy aliens what humans could really do. The war games had simple rules. All ships would fight in a huge simulation that covered several light hours of space. When a ship was destroyed by enemy fire, it would be marked as eliminated and had to stop fighting. The last ship or group of ships standing would win. What the aliens didn't know was that the Ashfall had been built specifically for these games. Every ugly piece of scrap metal had been chosen for a reason. Every jury-rig system had been designed to look broken while working perfectly. The hour passed quickly. Soon, all the ships were moving to their starting positions. The Ashfall was assigned to the minor power group along with ships from newer hegemony members. They were expected to be eliminated quickly so the major powers could fight each other. Properly, all ships, this is Admiral Vexstar. The war games begin now. May the best fleet win. Space erupted in light and energy. The beautiful alien ships charged at each other with weapons blazing. Plasma beams cut through the void. Energy shields sparked and flared as they absorbed hits. Missiles streaked between the ships like angry metal hornets. The Ashfall moved slowly through the chaos. To anyone watching, it looked like the human ship was trying to stay out of the way. It drifted behind asteroids and kept its distance from the major battles. When enemy ships fired at it, the Ashfall seemed to barely dodge. In time, atmosphere vented from several hull breaches, making it look like the ship was badly damaged. "Nice acting, Marcus," Sarah said quietly. "How much air did we actually lose?" "About as much as someone breathing hard for 10 seconds, Marcus replied with a grin. "But it looks good on their sensors." The truth was that every hit the Ashfall had taken was planned. The hull breaches were fake, designed to vent harmless gas that looked like atmosphere on alien sensors. The ship's erratic movement wasn't panic. It was careful positioning. While the aliens fought their glorious battles, the Ashfall was working. Every weapon signature was recorded and analyzed. Every shield frequency was measured and cataloged. Every tactical formation was studied and filed away for later use. "Captain," Lisa said softly, "I'm picking up some interesting chatter. The Chittick Third Fleet thinks they've got the Korthik Fourth Squadron trapped." "Show me," Sarah ordered. The main screen shifted to show a tactical display. Sure enough, 6 Chittick ships were surrounding 3 larger Korthik vessels. The Chittick were moving in for the kill, their weapons charging for a final strike. "Yuki, can we get a clean shot at the lead Chittick ship without being seen?" "Affirmative, Captain." "They're so focused on the Korthak ships they won't see us coming." "Do it. 1 shot, then we disappear." The Ashfall's main gun fired once. The energy beam was designed to look like a Korthik weapon, and it struck the lead Chittick ship square in the engine section. The ship's simulation systems registered a fatal hit, and it went dark. The remaining Chittick ships spun around, looking for the attacker. They saw only empty space and the 3 Korthik ships, whose weapons were still charging. "The Korthik must have had a hidden ship," the Chittick commander said over the radio. "Fall back and regroup." But as they turned to retreat, 2 more of their ships took hits from what looked like Korthik weapons. The Ashfall had moved again, firing from a different position each time. By the time the Chittick realized what was happening, they had lost 4 ships and had no idea where the attacks were coming from. "Excellent work," Sarah said. "Now let's see if we can stir up some more trouble." The war games continued for hours. Major battles raged between the great fleets while smaller ships like the Ashfall were supposed to provide target practice. But something strange was happening. Elite alien squadrons kept disappearing from the simulation. Their ships would go dark one by one, eliminated by weapons fire that seemed to come from nowhere. The alien commanders grew frustrated. They had expected to spend most of their time fighting each other, with the minor powers eliminated quickly. Instead, they were losing ships to an enemy they couldn't see. Admiral Vexstar watched the tactical displays from his flagship with growing anger. His beautiful fleet was being picked apart by an invisible opponent. Ships that should have been easy targets were somehow eliminating his best crews. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we've lost contact with the 7th Squadron. They were eliminated by what appeared to be Etherian weapons, but no Etherian ships were in that sector." "And the 3rd battle group?" "Gone, sir." "Weapon signatures," suggest Zephyrian plasma cannons, but the Zephyrians were engaged with the Korthek fleet at the time. Vexstar's 4 eyes narrowed. Something was very wrong with these war games. His ships were being destroyed by weapons that couldn't be there, fired by ships that shouldn't exist. On the bridge of the Ashfall, Sarah and her crew watched the confusion with satisfaction. Their ship continued to drift through the battlefield like a piece of floating junk, ignored by the major powers who were too busy trying to figure out what was destroying their fleets. "How many ships have we eliminated?" Sarah asked. 17 confirmed kills, Yuki reported. "The aliens think they're shooting each other, and they still haven't figured out it's us?" "No, Captain. We're just the human scrap ship, that's two." Pathetic to be worth their attention. Sarah nodded. That was exactly what she had hoped for. While the aliens fought their glorious battles and tried to impress each other, the Ashfall was doing what human ships did best. It was surviving, adapting, and fighting dirty. The beautiful alien ships were built to look impressive and fight honorable battles. The Ashfall was built to win, no matter how ugly it had to be to do it. As the war games entered their final phase, Sarah looked at her crew with pride. They had taken everything the galaxy could throw at them and turned it into a weapon. Now it was time to show these aliens what happened when you underestimated humanity. "All right, people," she said. "We've had our fun. Now let's show them what this scrap heap can really do." The third day of the war games brought new problems for Admiral Vexstar. He stood in his command center surrounded by holographic displays showing the battlefield. Each display told the same story. His ships were disappearing, not destroyed in glorious battle, not defeated by superior firepower. They were simply vanishing from the simulation, their crews reporting fatal hits from weapons that had no source. "Report," Vexstar demanded from his intelligence officer. "Sir, we have lost 43 ships in the past 18 hours. The weapon signatures are all different. Some appear to be Korthek plasma cannons. Others match Zephyrian energy beams. A few even show Etherian quantum disruptors. And what do our allies say about these attacks?" "They deny involvement, sir. Each species claims their fleets were engaged elsewhere when the attacks occurred." Vexstar's mandibles clicked together in frustration. Someone was playing games with his war games, and he did not like it. Far across the battlefield, the Ashfall drifted between 2 dead asteroids. To anyone watching, it looked like a damaged ship hiding from the fighting. Atmosphere still leaked from the fake hull breaches. The engines ran at minimal power. Even the lights on the bridge were dimmed to make it look like the ship was conserving energy. Captain Sarah Chun sat in her old chair and watched the tactical display. Her ship had eliminated 6 more alien vessels in the past 4 hours, and none of them had seen it coming. "Marcus," she said to her chief engineer, "how are our special modifications holding up?" Marcus Rodriguez looked up from his jury-rigged console with a wide grin. "Like a dream, Captain. The stealth plating is working perfectly. We're absorbing their sensor sweeps and radiating nothing back." The stealth plating was Marcus's masterpiece. It looked like random pieces of asteroid rock welded to the ship's hull. The aliens who had laughed at the Ashfall's appearance thought it was just more human junk. They had no idea that each piece of rock was actually a carefully designed sensor absorber made from materials found in the asteroid belt. "What about our weapon signatures?" Sarah asked. "Even better. We can make our guns sound like anything they've ever heard. Korthek, Zephyrian, Etherian, you name it. As far as their sensors know, we're whoever we want to be." "Lieutenant Commander." Yuki Tanaka spoke up from her tactical station. "Captain, I'm tracking a hegemony squadron moving through Sector 7. 3 heavy cruisers with escort ships. They look like they're hunting for something." "They're hunting for us," Sarah said. "They just don't know it yet." The truth was that every move the Ashfall had made during the war games had been planned months in advance, while the alien species had spent their time building bigger and more impressive weapons humanity had been studying. Earth's intelligence services had intercepted communications, analyzed debris from old battles, and even sent human traders to alien shipyards to ask innocent questions about their technology. The result was a complete understanding of how galactic warfare worked. The aliens followed patterns that had been established for thousands of years. They fought honor duels between fleets. They used the same formations their ancestors had used. They followed rules that made battles glorious and beautiful. Humans didn't care about glory or beauty. They cared about winning. "Lisa," Sarah said to her communications officer, "what are our targets talking about?" Lisa Park's fingers danced over her ancient-looking console. The thing was held together with metal tape and hope, but it could crack any encryption the galaxy had to offer. The squadron leader is Admiral Kethver. He's convinced that there's a cloaked ship somewhere in this sector. He wants to flush it out with a sensor sweep. Can he detect us? Not with that old hegemony equipment. Their sensors are designed to find big, obvious targets. We're too small and too quiet, Sarah nodded. The Ashfall had been designed to be overlooked. While alien ships announced their presence with bright lights and energy fields, the human ship absorbed everything and reflected nothing back. "Yuki, plot an intercept course. I want to get behind their formation without being seen." "Aye, Captain," course plotted. The Ashfall began to move through the asteroid field. Its engines ran so quietly that they barely registered on sensors. The ship's hull was designed to look like space debris, and it moved like debris too. Slow, irregular, and completely harmless. Admiral Kethver's squadron swept through the sector with their sensors on full power. They were looking for a cloaked enemy ship, something big and dangerous that could threaten their formation. They never thought to check the small piece of junk drifting behind an asteroid. "Target acquired," Yuki reported quietly. "The flagship is exposed. I can take out their main engines with one shot?" "Wait," Sarah said. "Let's make this interesting. Lisa, can you tap into their communications?" "Already done, Captain." "Good. I want you to send a message when I give the word. Make it look like it's coming from inside their own ship." Sarah watched the tactical display as the hegemony ships moved into perfect position. They were arranged in a classic battle formation, with the flagship in the center and escort ships protecting its flanks. It was textbook galactic warfare, beautiful and completely predictable. "Now, Lisa." "Message sent, Captain." On the bridge of the hegemony flagship, Admiral Kethver heard his communications officer's voice crackle over the intercom. "Sir, we're picking up a strange signal. It appears to be coming from inside our own ship." "What kind of signal?" It's a human voice, sir, speaking in their native language." Kethver felt his blood grow cold. Put it on the main speakers. A woman's voice filled the bridge, speaking in clear English with a slight accent. "This is Captain Sarah Chun of the Terran Defense Force. You've been looking for me, Admiral." "Well, here I am." Before Kethver could respond, his ship shuddered under weapons fire. But the shots didn't come from in front of him, where enemies were supposed to be. They came from behind, where nothing should have been able to hide. The Ashfall had dropped its disguise. The fake hull breaches sealed themselves. The dim lights brightened to full power. The weapon ports that had been hidden under plates of asteroid rock opened to reveal guns that could punch through anything the hegemony had built. "Impossible," Kethver whispered. "There was nothing there. Our sensors showed nothing." His tactical officer's voice was shaky. "Sir, the human ship just appeared out of nowhere. It's firing on our engines." The Ashfall's gun spoke again. This time they targeted the escort ships, and this time they didn't bother to disguise their weapon signatures. The beams that lanced out were obviously human in origin, different from anything the galaxy had seen before. "Return fire," Kethver ordered. His ships tried to fight back, but the Ashfall was already moving. It slipped between asteroids like a snake, using the space rocks for cover while its guns found target after target. The human ship fought like nothing the aliens had ever seen. It didn't follow the rules of honorable combat. It didn't announce its attacks or give fair warning. It simply killed, one by one. Kethver's ships went dark as the simulation registered fatal hits. The beautiful hegemony formation fell apart as vessels tried to retreat or find cover. But there was nowhere to hide from an enemy that could appear and disappear at will. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "the human captain is sending another message." Put it through? Captain Chin's voice came through the speakers again, calm and professional. Admiral Kethver, your ships have been eliminated from the war games. I suggest you spend some time thinking about why that happened before you engage. Human forces again? The last of Kethver's escort ships went dark. His flagship was alone, surrounded by the wreckage of his squadron. The Ashfall hung in space nearby, looking once again like a piece of junk that had somehow survived a battle. This is impossible, Kethver said. No one could have hidden a ship in this sector. Our sensors are the best in the galaxy. Captain Chin's voice answered him, and now there was amusement in it. Admiral, you're thinking like someone who builds ships to impress people. We build ours to kill people. There's a difference. Back on Admiral Vextar's flagship, the reports kept coming in. Another squadron eliminated. Another group of ships destroyed by an enemy that shouldn't exist. The war games were turning into a nightmare. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we've confirmed the identity of the attacking vessel. It's the human ship Ashfall. The scrap heap? That's impossible. I'm afraid not, sir. We have communication intercepts and weapon signature analysis. It's definitely the human vessel. Vextar stared at the tactical display. The Ashfall was marked as a small dot on the edge of the battlefield, listed as minor damage, low threat. According to his computers, the human ship was barely functional. According to his ship captains, it was the most dangerous vessel in the war games. How many ships have they eliminated? 67 confirmed, sir. Possibly more. Vextar felt sick. 67 ships destroyed by a vessel that looked like it had been built in a scrapyard. His beautiful fleet, the pride of the hegemony, was being torn apart by human garbage. Get me a direct channel to the human captain. Channel open, sir. Captain Chun, this is Admiral Vextar. I demand an explanation. The human woman's voice came back immediately, still calm and professional. An explanation for what, Admiral? Your ship is supposed to be barely functional. Our intelligence report said Earth had no advanced military technology. Your intelligence reports were correct, Admiral. We don't have advanced technology. We have something better. Which is? We have experience losing, Vextar didn't understand. Losing? Admiral, every human colony has been raided by pirates. Every human trade ship has been attacked by alien smugglers. Every human world has been threatened by species that thought we were weak. We've spent 20 years learning how to fight enemies with better technology than us. Sarah's voice grew harder. We learned to be sneaky because we had to be. We learned to fight dirty because clean fighting got us killed. We learned to use every advantage we could find because fair fights are for people who can afford to lose. Your ship still looks like scrap. It is scrap, Admiral. Scrap that's been turned into the most effective killing machine your war games have ever seen. We took your garbage and made it into your nightmare. Admiral Vextar closed the channel and stared at his displays. The human ship was still out there, still hunting his vessels. Still proving that all of his assumptions about humanity had been wrong. The beautiful alien ships had been built to win glorious battles against honorable enemies. The Ashfall had been built to survive real wars against anyone stupid enough to underestimate humanity. Now Vextar was beginning to understand which philosophy worked better. The war games had become a hunt, and Admiral Vextar was no longer sure who was the hunter and who was the prey. He stood in his command center watching the tactical displays with growing horror. 3 more squadrons had gone dark in the past. 6 hours, each time the reports were the same. Ships destroyed by weapons fire from an unknown source. No enemy vessels detected. No explanation for how it happened, but Vextar knew the truth now. It was the human ship, the ugly piece of scrap that he had dismissed as harmless, was systematically destroying the finest fleet in the galaxy. Sir, his intelligence officer called out, we're receiving priority communications from the other fleet commanders. They're requesting an emergency meeting. Put them through. The holographic displays around Vextar lit up with the images of alien commanders from across the galaxy. Admiral Sifkar of the Korthik fleet looked angry, his rocky features twisted in frustration. Commander Velthara of the Zephyrian forces appeared nervous, her silver skin flickering with stress patterns. Even the ethereal Admiral Quexen of the Etherean ships seemed disturbed, though emotions were hard to read on their translucent face. "Vexstar," Sithkar rumbled, "what is happening to our ships?" "My fourth battle group was eliminated an hour ago by weapons that appeared to come from your forces." "My ships were nowhere near your fourth battle group," Vexstar replied. "Then explain how they were destroyed by hegemony plasma cannons." Velthara's voice was sharp with worry. "The same thing happened to my reconnaissance squadron. They were eliminated by what appeared to be Korthak weapons, but no Korthak ships were in that sector." Admiral Quexen spoke in their musical voice. "The quantum signatures do not match. Someone is using technology that mimics our weapons but is not our technology." All eyes turned to the small display showing the human captain. Sarah Chen sat in her battered chair on her ugly bridge, looking completely calm while chaos erupted around her. "Captain Chun," Vexstar said, "would you care to explain how your damaged vessel has managed to survive while our finest ships are being destroyed?" Sarah smiled, and it was not a friendly expression. "Admiral, you're assuming I'm trying to survive. That's your first mistake. What do you mean?" "You're thinking like prey. You're trying to figure out where the attacks are coming from so you can run away from them. But you're not being hunted, Admiral. You're being farmed." The alien commanders looked confused. Velthara spoke first. "Farmed?" Sarah leaned forward in her chair. "Every one of your ships that I've eliminated was chosen for a specific reason. I'm not just destroying your fleets, I'm studying them, learning how they work, understanding how you think." She gestured to something off-screen. "Marcus, show them the trophy room." The display shifted to show another part of the Ashfall's bridge. What the aliens saw made them gasp in horror. The walls were covered with holographic displays showing detailed technical specifications of every major ship class in their fleets. Weapon systems, shield frequencies, engine configurations, tactical formations, everything. 20 years of preparation, Sarah said. 20 years of collecting wreckage from your wars. 20 years of studying every piece of alien technology we could get our hands on. We know your ships better than you do. Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez appeared on screen, his hands covered in grease and his face split by a wide grin. "Want to know how we make our weapons sound like yours? Every energy signature in the galaxy has a unique frequency pattern. We just record those patterns and play them back through our guns. As far as your sensors know, you're shooting each other." Admiral Sithkar's voice was a low growl. "Impossible. Our weapon signatures are classified at the highest levels." "Admiral," Sarah said, "every time one of your ships fires its guns in battle, it broadcasts that signature across space. All we had to do was listen." The truth was even more impressive than what Sarah was telling them. The Ashfall wasn't just mimicking alien weapons. It had been designed from the ground up to be invisible to alien sensors while being perfectly visible to human ones. The stealth plating that looked like asteroid rock was actually a complex metamaterial that absorbed and redirected sensor waves. The ugly hull patches weren't random pieces of scrap metal. They were carefully shaped deflectors that made the ship's energy signature look like background radiation. Even the way the ship moved was designed to be overlooked. While alien vessels flew in straight lines or graceful curves, the Ashfall drifted like debris. It followed the gravitational currents between asteroids and planets, moving like a piece of space junk caught in natural forces. "Your ship still looks like garbage?" Velthara said. "That's the point," Sarah replied. "You see what you expect to see. A primitive human ship built from scrap metal. You don't see the weapon that's been specifically designed to kill everything you've built." Lieutenant Commander Yuki Tanaka appeared on the display, her young face serious as she pointed to her tactical console. "Every piece of junk on this ship serves a purpose. The hull plates aren't just armor, they're sensor reflectors. The external cables aren't exposed wiring, they're targeting arrays. The weapon mounts aren't clumsy add-ons, they're precision. Instruments designed to put firepower exactly where we need it. Communications specialist Lisa Park joined the conversation from her station. And this old communications console that looks like it belongs in a museum? It can crack any encryption algorithm you've ever developed. While you're trying to keep your tactical communications secure, I'm listening to every word you say. Admiral Vexstar felt his confidence crumbling. You're telling us that your entire ship is a deception. No, Admiral. I'm telling you that our entire species is a deception. Sarah stood up from her chair and walked to the center of her bridge. Behind her, the crew continued their work at stations that looked primitive but functioned with deadly efficiency. You think humans are new to galactic civilization. You think we're primitive and weak because we haven't built massive fleets or conquered other worlds? But you're wrong about what makes a species dangerous. She gestured to her crew. Marcus there? He grew up on a mining colony that was raided 6 times by alien pirates. He learned to keep machines running with nothing but spare parts and determination. Lisa? Her family's merchant ship was attacked by Korthak raiders when she was 12. She learned to hack alien communication systems so she could call for help. Yuki? She watched her homeworld get bombarded by Zephyrian warships during a trade dispute. She learned to fight with whatever weapons she could find. Sarah's voice grew harder. Every human in this crew has been underestimated by aliens who thought we were weak. Every one of us has survived encounters with species that had better technology and bigger guns. We didn't survive by being stronger or faster. We survived by being smarter. The alien commanders were silent now, beginning to understand what they were facing. The Ashfall isn't just a ship, Sarah continued. It's a monument to human adaptability. Every piece of scrap metal tells a story about learning to make do with less. Every jury-rig system represents a solution to a problem that should have been impossible to solve. Every ugly modification is a testament to the fact that we don't care how things look as long as they work. Admiral Quexon spoke in their musical voice. You are saying that your entire military philosophy is based on being underestimated. Exactly. You build ships to look impressive and fight honorable battles. We build ships to come home alive, from fights we were never supposed to win. Marcus called out from his engineering station. Captain, we're picking up some interesting movement patterns from the remaining alien fleets. Looks like they're trying to group together for a coordinated assault. Sarah smiled. Perfect. Show them what we've been building while they weren't paying attention. The display shifted to show the battlefield from a wider perspective. The remaining alien ships were indeed grouping together, forming a massive fleet that covered several cubic kilometers of space. It was an impressive sight, hundreds of beautiful vessels arranged in perfect formations. But as the perspective widened further, something else became visible. The space around the alien fleet was not empty. It was filled with debris and wreckage from the earlier battles, drifting slowly through the void. Except it wasn't all debris. You see, Sarah explained, while you were busy fighting each other and looking for my ship, my crew has been very busy. Every piece of wreckage out there, every chunk of debris, we've had 3 days to plant surprises inside them. The aliens stared in horror as they realized what she meant. The battlefield was filled with what looked like harmless wreckage, but was actually a network of hidden weapons and sensors. Yuki, show them the fireworks. On Yuki's command, the debris field came alive. Hidden weapon platforms opened fire from inside what looked like destroyed hull sections. Sensor arrays that had been disguised as floating wreckage began feeding, targeting information to the Ashfall. Mines that had been built into asteroid chunks started moving toward the grouped alien fleet. The beautiful alien formation found itself surrounded by a maze of weapons that had been hiding in plain sight for days. This is impossible, Admiral Vexstar whispered. No, Admiral, Sarah replied. This is what happens when you fight humans, who have had 20 years to prepare for you. The alien fleet was trapped in the middle of a weapons field that stretched for millions of kilometers in every direction. Every piece of debris was a potential threat. Every chunk of wreckage might contain a weapon or a sensor or a mine. And somewhere in the middle of it all, The Ashfall continued to drift like a piece of harmless junk, while its crew prepared to show the galaxy what human ingenuity could accomplish when it was given enough time and motivation. The hunt was about to become a slaughter, and the aliens were finally beginning to understand that they had never been the hunters at all. Admiral Vexstar stared at the tactical display with the cold certainty of a commander who knew he was about to lose everything. His combined fleet of over 300 ships hung in space, surrounded by what he now knew was a carefully prepared killing field. The human ship Ashfall drifted among the debris like a predator among sleeping prey. For 3 days, he had watched this ugly vessel destroy the finest military formations in the galaxy. Now it was his turn to face the thing that had been built specifically to kill ships like his. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, voice tight with fear, "the other fleet commanders are requesting orders." Vexstar looked at the communication displays showing the faces of his allied commanders. Admiral Sithkar of the Korthak fleet was grinding his rocky teeth in frustration. "Commander." Velthara silver skin was flickering with stress patterns that made her look like a broken hologram. Even the normally calm Admiral Quexen seemed disturbed, their translucent features rippling with emotion. "Options?" Vexstar asked his staff. "We could retreat," his navigation officer suggested. "Pull back to the edge of the simulation zone. And regroup." "Retreat where?" Sithkar's voice rumbled through the speakers. "The humans have had 3 days to prepare this battlefield. Every piece of debris could be a weapon. Every asteroid could hide a mine. There is nowhere to run." Velthara's voice was sharp with panic. "Then we fight our way out. Full assault, all ships, maximum firepower, against what target?" Quexen asked. "The human ship disappears whenever. We try to engage it directly. We would be firing blindly at shadows while their hidden weapons pick us apart." Vexstar closed his eyes and made the decision that would define the rest of his career. "Tactical, are our weapon systems online?" "Yes, sir, all guns charged and ready." "Switch from simulation mode to live fire." The bridge went silent. Every officer stared at their admiral in shock. "Sir," his tactical officer whispered, "that's against the rules of the war games. We could kill people." "The war games are over," Vexstar said. "This human ship has made fools of us all. If we cannot defeat them fairly, then we will eliminate them permanently. History will record that they died in a training accident." He opened a channel to all ships in his fleet. "Attention all vessels, we are switching to live ammunition. The human ship is to be destroyed completely, no survivors." On the bridge of the Ashfall, Lisa Park looked up from her communications console with wide eyes. "Captain, you need to hear this." Sarah Chun listened to the intercepted transmission and felt something cold settle in her stomach. She had expected the aliens to cheat eventually, but she had hoped they would be smarter about it. "So much for honor and glory," she said. "Marcus, how are our defenses?" "All systems ready, Captain. The real armor plating is in place behind the fake scrap metal. We can take a lot more punishment than they think." "Yuki, weapon status?" "All guns loaded with live ammunition, Captain. We've been ready for this since the game started." Sarah nodded. The Terran Defense Force had known this moment would come. The aliens would eventually realize that they could not defeat humanity in a fair fight, so they would try to eliminate the human threat permanently. That was fine with Sarah. She had not come here to play games. "Lisa, open a channel to all alien vessels." "Channel open, Captain." Sarah's voice carried across the battlefield to every ship in the combined alien fleet. "Admiral Vexstar, this is Captain Sarah Chun. You just made the biggest mistake of your military career." "I am eliminating a threat to galactic stability," Vexstar replied. "No, Admiral. You just started a war with the wrong species." The Ashfall began to change. The fake hull breaches sealed with metallic clicks. The dim lights brightened to full combat intensity. The jury-rigged weapon mounts rotated to reveal guns that had been hidden beneath layers of false armor, but the most frightening change was in the ship's movement. The lazy drift of a damaged vessel became the precise maneuvering of a predator. The Ashfall moved through space like a living thing, every motion calculated for maximum lethality. You want to see what human scrap can do? Sarah's voice carried a new edge, cold and deadly. Let me show you what we learned from losing everything. The first alien ships opened fire with their beautiful energy weapons. Beams of pure light lanced through space, designed to vaporize anything they touched. The ashfall simply wasn't there when the beams arrived. The human ship moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen. It twisted between incoming fire, used debris as shields, and returned shots that found their targets with impossible accuracy. Every movement was ugly and efficient, lacking the grace of alien combat but possessing something far more dangerous: effectiveness. Impossible, Vextar breathed. Our targeting computers can't track it. His tactical officer's voice was shaking. Sir, the human ship is using the debris field against us. Every time we fire, it uses the wreckage to block our shots or redirect them back at us. The truth was even more sophisticated than that. The ashfall had been designed to fight in environments exactly like this one. Human ships were built for asteroid mining, salvage operations, and combat in cluttered space where larger vessels couldn't maneuver effectively. The alien fleets were used to fighting in open space, where their beautiful formations could spread out and use their superior firepower. In the debris field, their size and numbers became disadvantages. They couldn't fire without risking hitting their own ships. They couldn't maneuver without colliding with obstacles. The ashfall, on the other hand, moved through the wreckage like it was built for it because it was. Target their flagship, Sarah ordered. Full spread, all guns. The ashfall's weapons fired in sequence, each gun calibrated for a different target system. The first shots took out Vextar's shields. The second volley disabled his engines. The third eliminated his main weapons. But the human ship wasn't trying to destroy the alien flagship. It was making a point. Admiral Vextar, Sarah's voice came through his damaged communication system. Your ship is dead in space. I could kill you right now, but I'm not going. Do you know why? Vextar said nothing. Because I want you to watch what happens to the rest of your fleet. The battle that followed was not a fight. It was a demonstration of what happened when a species that had learned to survive anything faced opponents who had never faced real adversity. The alien ships fought bravely, but they fought like they were trained to fight, in formations, with honor, following the rules of warfare that had been established over thousands of years of galactic civilization. The ashfall fought like humans had always fought. Dirty, desperate, and with the absolute certainty that losing meant death. The human ship used every trick that human military history had to offer. It rammed damaged enemy vessels, using their own mass as weapons. It hacked into alien communication systems and fed false orders to enemy commanders. It used the gravitational fields of nearby asteroids to slingshot around obstacles and attack from unexpected angles. Most terrifyingly of all, it used the hidden weapons platforms that had been disguised as debris. As alien ships tried to retreat or reposition, they found themselves under fire from weapons that had been waiting patiently for days. Admiral Sithkar's massive dreadnought exploded when it collided with what looked like a chunk of harmless wreckage, but was actually a mine the size of a small building. Commander Velthara's elegant cruiser was torn apart by weapons that emerged from inside a destroyed hull section. Admiral Quexon's ethereal ship simply vanished when it triggered a trap that folded space around it. One by one, the beautiful alien vessels were eliminated by an enemy that fought like the universe itself was trying to kill it, because from humanity's perspective, it was. This is what you never understood, Sarah's voice carried across the battlefield as alien ships burned around her. You think warfare is about honor and glory and proving who has the biggest guns. But for humans, warfare is about coming home alive from situations where everything is trying to kill you. The ashfall moved through the destruction like an angel of death, its ugly hull scarred but intact, its weapons still firing with mechanical precision. We didn't build this ship to look impressive, Sarah continued. We built it to fight aliens who thought we were weak. We built it to survive battles against enemies with better technology and superior numbers. We built it to prove that underestimating humanity is the last mistake you'll ever make. Admiral Vextar watched his fleet die around him and finally understood what he was facing. This wasn't just a ship. It was humanity's answer to every alien species that had ever looked down on them. It was concentrated human fury given physical form. It was the embodiment of a species that had learned to turn being dismissed and underestimated into the deadliest weapon in the galaxy. As the last of his escort ships went dark, Vextar realized that the war games had never been about testing military capabilities. They had been about teaching the galaxy a lesson about what happened when you gave humans enough time to prepare for you. The lesson was almost over, and the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. The silence that followed the battle was broken only by the soft hum of the Ashfall's engines and the quiet beeping of emergency signals from disabled alien ships. Captain Sarah Chun stood on her bridge and looked out at the aftermath of what had once been the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. Hundreds of beautiful alien vessels now drifted dark and dead through space, their elegant hulls torn open by weapons they had never seen coming. In the center of the destruction, Admiral Vextar's flagship hung powerless and alone. Its weapons were gone, its engines were dead, its communication array was barely functional. But its crew was alive, and that had been Sarah's choice. "Captain," Lieutenant Commander Yuki Tanaka reported from her tactical station, "all hostile vessels have been neutralized. No enemy ships remain operational." "Casualties?" Sarah asked. "Minimal on our side. Some minor hull damage from debris impacts. The aliens have approximately 3,000 crew members in disabled ships requesting rescue." Sarah nodded. "Begin recovery operations, all of them." Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez looked up from his console with surprise. "Captain, these people just tried to kill us with live weapons. They broke the rules of the war games. And now they're learning why that was a mistake," Sarah replied. "But we're not murderers, Marcus. We're humans. We help people who need help, even when those people are idiots." The truth was that Sarah had planned for this moment from the beginning. She had known that the aliens would eventually abandon their precious honor and try to eliminate the human threat permanently. She had also known that how humanity responded to that betrayal would define their relationship with the rest of the galaxy for generations to come. They could be feared, or they could be respected. Fear was easier to achieve, but respect lasted longer. "Lisa, open a channel to all surviving alien vessels." "Channel open, Captain." Sarah's voice carried across the battlefield to every ship that still had power to receive it. "This is Captain Sarah Chun of the Terran Defense Force. Medical and rescue ships are en route to assist your crews. Any vessel that needs immediate life support should activate your emergency beacons." The response was immediate. Emergency signals began lighting up across the tactical display as alien crews swallowed their pride and asked for help from the humans they had just tried to kill. "Captain," came Admiral Vextar's voice over the communication system, weak and defeated. "Why are you helping us?" Sarah was quiet for a moment, looking out at the wreckage that surrounded her ship. "Admiral, do you know what the difference is between a warrior and a soldier?" "No, a warrior fights for glory and honor and to prove they're the strongest. A soldier fights to protect the people they care about and to make sure everyone comes home alive." She paused, letting that sink in. "Earth doesn't train warriors?" "Admiral, we train soldiers. And soldiers don't abandon their enemies to die in space, even when those enemies deserve it." The rescue operation took 6 hours. Human recovery ships had been waiting at the edge of the simulation zone, ready to move in as soon as the fighting stopped. They work alongside Ashfall's own shuttles to pull alien crew members from damaged vessels and provide medical care. To the wounded, during those 6 hours, something remarkable happened. The alien crews who had spent 3 days dismissing humans as primitive and weak found themselves being saved by the same species they had tried to eliminate, human medical. Teams worked tirelessly to treat alien injuries using equipment that looked crude but functioned perfectly. Human engineers jury-rigged life support systems to keep damaged alien ships operational until proper repair crews could arrive. Most importantly, not a single human said, I told you so, or gloated about their victory. They simply did their jobs, with the quiet competence that had allowed their species to survive in a galaxy that had never wanted them. As the last of the survivors was pulled from the wreckage, Sarah opened a final communication channel to the assembled alien commanders. "Gentlemen," she said, "the war games are officially over. I believe the results speak for themselves." Admiral Vextar's image appeared on her screen, his proud features now marked by defeat and confusion. "Captain Chun, I must ask, how did you do it? How did one human ship destroy an entire fleet?" Sarah smiled, but it was a tired smile now. "Admiral, we didn't destroy your fleet. You destroyed your fleet. We just gave you the opportunity to do it." "I don't understand." "You came here expecting to fight the same kind of war your species have been fighting for thousands of years. Beautiful ships in perfect formations following rules of honor and glory. But humans don't fight that kind of war, Admiral. We fight the kind of war where the only rule is that everyone you care about goes home alive." She gestured to her crew, who were busy coordinating rescue operations. "Every person on this ship has lost someone to alien aggression. Every one of us has survived encounters with species who thought we were too weak to matter. We didn't build the Ashfall to look impressive. We built it to make sure that anyone who underestimates humanity pays a price they'll never forget." Admiral Sithkar's voice came through the speakers, his rocky features showing something that might have been respect. "Your ship is indeed formidable, but it is still just one vessel. What happens when you face a real fleet, not a training exercise?" Sarah's smile became something altogether more dangerous. "Admiral, you're still thinking too small. The Ashfall isn't just one ship, it's a proof of concept." The alien commanders went silent as they realized what she meant. "Earth has been building ships like this one for the past 5 years, Sarah continued. "Ugly, improvised vessels that look like scrap, but fight like demons. We've been training crews who think like soldiers instead of warriors. We've been preparing for the day when the galaxy decides that humanity needs to be eliminated." She looked directly at Vextar. "Today you gave us that day. And now the galaxy gets to find out what happens when you threaten a species that learned to survive by turning their weaknesses into weapons." As if summoned by her words, new contacts began appearing on the edge of the sensor range. Ships that looked like the Ashfall, built from scrap and held together with determination, dozens of them. Then hundreds. The Terran Defense Force had been waiting for this moment for 20 years. "Captain Chun," Vextar's voice was barely a whisper, "what do you want from us?" "Nothing, Admiral. We don't want anything from you except to be left alone to build our worlds and raise our families in peace. But if you or anyone else in this galaxy thinks that humanity can be pushed around because we don't have fancy ships or perfect uniforms, then you're welcome to try." She gestured to the wreckage around them. "This is what happens to people who underestimate us. Today it was a training exercise, tomorrow it might not be." The communication channel went silent. The alien commanders had nothing left to say. In the days that followed, news of the war games spread across the galaxy at light speed. The story was told and retold in 100 different languages, but the core message was always the same. The humans had taken the finest fleet in galactic history and turned it into scrap metal using a ship that looked like it belonged in a junkyard. Some species were angry, some were afraid, but most were simply impressed by the sheer audacity of what humanity had accomplished. Earth's ambassador to the galactic hegemony reported that requests for trade agreements and defensive pacts were flooding in from species that had never shown interest in humanity before. Apparently, everyone wanted to be friends with the people who could turn garbage into the most effective weapons in the galaxy. The Ashfall returned to Earth orbit 3 weeks later, its hull still scarred from battle but its crew intact. "Captain." Sarah Chun stood on the observation deck of Luna Station and watched her ship dock with the orbital shipyard, where dozens more vessels like it were under construction. "So," Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez said, joining her at the viewing port, "what do we call them?" "The galaxy is going to want to know what to call Earth's new fleet." Sarah thought about it for a moment, remembering the faces of the alien commanders when they realized what they were truly facing. We call them what they are, Marcus. We call them the scrap fleet. The scrap fleet. Ships built from the wreckage of our defeats, crewed by people who learned to fight from the ashes of their failures, designed to prove that being underestimated is the most dangerous advantage any species can have. She smiled as she watched human engineers swarm over the Ashfall's hull, patching damage and preparing the ship for its next mission. Let the galaxy build beautiful ships for beautiful wars. We'll build ugly ships for ugly fights. And when the fighting is over, we'll be the ones left standing. As the station rotated, Earth came into view through the observation port. Blue and green and brown, scarred by the industries that had built humanity's new fleet, but still beautiful in its own imperfect way. It was a world of survivors who had learned to turn their scars into strength. Now the galaxy knew that too. The Empire had mocked Earth's scrap ship, but the ashes of their arrogance now drifted through space as a testament to what happened when you underestimated the species that had learned to make weapons from their own failures. And in the depths of space, more human ships were being built, ugly ships, effective ships, ships that would carry the message of humanity to every corner of the galaxy. We are here. We are strong, and we remember everyone who thought we were weak. The galaxy had wanted to know what humans were capable of. Now they knew.